Hi and hello and welcome back. It has been a long time since we have done a live stream. Um, oh my goodness, it's crazy. I have missed it. I ended up taking a longer break than I kind of intended. I know that we had just canceled a couple weeks and then we went into the holidays and I had already planned on taking a little bit of time off just because around the holidays, all of my family, my husband, my son, are off from work. And it makes it a little bit more difficult because I do writing related stuff mostly at home, especially YouTubing. So it made it a little bit difficult just to plan. I could have done it, but I decided, being the holidays and I hadn't taken any like real time off, just to use it as an opportunity to take a little bit of time off. But we are back. I am super, super excited to be with you guys. I am, let's see, what has changed? Not a lot has changed. I am super excited for 2026. I don't know about you guys, but I have some really big plans that I am very excited about. For one, I'm publishing 3 books in 2025 or 2026. I keep saying 2025. In 2026, holy moly, I'm publishing 3 books. 2 of them are the Billionaire Beast in New York duology. It is on my little marquee board over here, Billionaire Beast in New York. I am having so much fun already with that series. I am currently writing Taming the Beast, which is book 1. I have not released the title of book 2 yet, although I am getting close to the point where I'm ready to release a little bit of extra stuff here on Patreon related to that series. So there is other stuff coming very soon. Fun, fun, fun. And let's see what else is new. I'm going to a couple more events. I'm going to a larger event here in Oklahoma in August. That is excited. I'm going to Red Dirt Romance. I'm planning to push direct sales a little bit. I am prioritizing myself more in 2026. So in 2024 and in 2025, my life was really hectic, either between a super demanding day job or transitioning from that day job into a completely different career field. Things have been wild, and I have not had the bandwidth. That's not even the right way of putting it, but I just haven't prioritized myself and my own well-being. And so in 2026, I am trying to slow down, even though it doesn't sound like it really, but I'm taking more time to do things for myself, which ultimately has meant replacing some other time in my life. I know that I can replace doom scrolling. I think we all can. And just being online in social media, I know I can replace a lot of that time with other activities and like reading. So I've already started that. It has been amazing. I am currently reading Savage Sins. I think it's Savage Sins by Kate Oliver. Oh my gosh. It's one of the Savage books. I know that. What is it? Savage Obsession. Savage Obsession by Kate Oliver. I am loving it. I pulled it up on the Kindle app. How far am I into this book? I am 53% through it, and I started it yesterday. I'm having a lot of fun, and the more time I spend with things like this for myself, especially reading, the more like refreshing it is for my own creativity. I definitely needed this kind of an outlet. So I am super thankful that I'm making a return to that. What else? Oh, we're in an entirely different room. I know like the wall back here may look similar to the old background, but we actually are in a completely different room in my house than where we used to be for live streams. I originally was going to just put this bookshelf in the old office, and Alex, my husband, had this idea that it made more sense since this space is multi-purpose to us in our household. It made more sense for the office slash guest bedroom to be in the larger of the bedrooms. And so what we ended up doing was, instead of just moving this bookshelf into the writing room, we moved the writing room and Finn's room. So we swapped them. So my son's room is slightly smaller now. They were both bedrooms. This one's just a little bit larger, which is much better to accommodate guests and have this little nook that we are currently in for writing. So I am pleased with it. Very happy there. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's all the updates. I also have been tinkering with the idea of, I don't even know. I want to go back to maybe doing a live stream on YouTube. So I'm playing with the idea of sacrificing maybe one of our live streams. It'll be the exact same format, this exact same live stream, except once a month. It will, instead of being on Patreon that month, it will be a public thing and maybe be on YouTube, so that YouTube will have a live stream once a month. But on Patreon, you will have one. It'll be every single week that you have one available to you with all of these updates, except that one of those weeks a month will also incorporate other people. So it won't just be us, it will be a public forum with the same format. I don't know. I'm playing with that idea. I'm thinking maybe like at the top of the month, every month, like the first week, the first Sunday of every month, maybe we go live on YouTube instead of just here on Patreon. I don't know. I am kind of missing the community that these live streams had when it was on YouTube. I'm sort of missing that a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe we will go back to doing that a little bit. I also know that I feel like a lot of my other author tube friends have sort of moved away from live content. And I don't know if it's because everybody like me has just been really busy, or if it's because, I don't know, maybe live streams are just not what they were anymore, at least on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe I think live content has maybe moved to other platforms like TikTok lives. Who knows? I'm doing some research. So if you have thoughts, let me know in the comments, or in the comments on Patreon if you're watching this back later. What do you think? Because I do like the idea of incorporating both communities, because there are people that don't get access to this every single week, but this is also a paid thing for you guys here on Patreon, so I don't want to take away from you either. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. But I think that's everything I have to catch you up on. Tonight, we are working on Taming the Beast, which is book 1 in the Billionaire Beast of New York series. It is yet another vampire human romance, except this one is much spicier. Much spicier, actually. There's an actual like BDSM plot to this one, which is new. Actually, not really, because there also is that in the Curse of Wings series, but I would say it is not as, how would you say it? This one's more graphic. I know that. There's some other words used that I did not use in Curse of Wings. So there's that. But I'm having a lot of fun writing it. I am looking at my draft right now. I am 39,094 words into Taming the Beast. I'm in the middle of a really fun scene. So that's super exciting. I am going to plug in some earbuds here, and we will get ready to go. Once they connect anyway. Might take them a little bit here. Oh, I don't need that. How do you turn this Siri off? Oops. So we'll get going here in just a second with our very first sprint of the night. We're going to do 25 minutes here. Let me put a different banner up. So we are going to be on sprint 1 of 3. We will do 3 tonight. First one being 25 minutes. I hope everyone brought a hot beverage to sit with, and we will all be ready to go. All right. What do we think? Okay. And it's been a little bit. Okay. Okay, 25 minutes on the clock. In three, two, one, sprint. right. We have some people that have been joining in. Hi, hello. I did open up the live stream beyond Patreon tonight. Hello. Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? I am working on my next book, which will be book number 11, I think, technically. It will be the first book in a duology, which kind of brings us into our break here, Taming the Beast, which is book one in this new duology. I'm really, really excited about it. I talked a little bit about it in Patreon and on Instagram, but for those of you who don't know, this series is this duology is called Billionaire Beasts of New York. I am a paranormal romance author, so I write vampires, werewolves, which are included in this duology. And this duology will have a little bit of crossover with my vampire romance, which is actually sitting back here, Curse of Wings and Darkness, or the Curse of Wings series. There are 2 books out. There will be 4. And there is a singular scene in book 3 of this series, which is coming later in 2026. And that scene appears in book 1 of this duology. You do not have to read Curse of Wings to read the duology or vice versa, because they all stand on their own. But it is kind of a fun little Easter egg that there is a scene featuring one of the characters from this book in this duology as well, which is sort of where the entire idea for this duology even came from, was this one scene that appears in book 3 of Curse of Wings. And I thought, wow, this character is really interesting and it would be fun to explore this dynamic. I immediately could see him in um, an entire scene in a whole different landscape, and that became this first book, which is Taming the Beast. It is a vampire and a human romance. It is a whole lot steamier, um, whole lot steamier than Curse of Wings. So if you like dark romance, but you like dark romance with paranormal elements, this is definitely a good place to start, actually, too. I'm planning to rapid release the duology. So I am currently drafting Taming the Beast. I am now, because I've been writing on it in that first sprint, I am 39,289 words into it. So I am drafting book 1, and then I will draft book 2, and we will do all the editing and such in between as we go. I'm holding off on publishing the duology though, because my plan is to release it one after the other closer to the fall of 2026, because book 3 in the Curse of Wings series will release in the fall. These books release really like every October. It has been the pattern. And so the plan is to release Taming the Beast 1 month, probably in July or August, I think. But 1 month it'll be Taming the Beast. The next it'll be second book in the duology, and that will be the whole duology. And then the next month will be the third Curse of Wings book. So super fun. I'm also planning to do a special edition of the duology, and my plan is to actually release the special edition, which I will do a Kickstarter for. If you're not familiar, Kickstarter is a really cool platform that you can use to crowdfunding is basically what it is. Crowdfunding. And if you back the project, you get super fun exclusive content. In this case, you get a book. And so the plan is to do a collection of the duology all in one book, and to release the collection shortly before or close to the release of Taming the Beast, the first book in the duology. So, because they will be done anyway. So if you back the Kickstarter, which helps fund the editing and the cover design and then future editing for mostly editing for the third book here. If you back Kickstarter, you'll be helping me fund more writing in future, and you would get exclusive content plus an exclusive edition of the duology in one single book before it releases publicly, which is really, really cool. So that's planned. Yeah, I'm gonna be busy. I mean, yes, I get 3 books. I usually publish 3 books a year. Um, that's changed a little bit once I have my son. It's a lot tighter of a schedule now, but I write most every day. Um, I always write in the evenings, although now that my work schedule has changed, I write about an hour every morning too. And I'm just a really quick writer as well, especially because I have spent a long time at this kind of a schedule, writing like this so consistently. And I've been doing this since I was really little and then refining my craft as I got older, went to school. And so I'm just kind of a quicker writer now, especially once I figure things out. So, um, because I'm able to write every day like that, and my books are never super long. My longest one is my romantasy, Trial of Flame and Wings. Can I even this one? This is my longest book, and it's really not very long. So that is kind of how I'm able to write them so fast because one, they're not super lengthy stories. I write in a series most of the time, and so I'm not writing really long books, but I am writing it in a series, so the story itself is long, but the individual like books are like 300-ish pages. I think this one is a little over that. Um, 363, I think is what that last page was. This one is an arranged marriage romantasy. It's sort of a plot from, sort of like the plot from Brave. She enters the trial for marriage to win her own hand, and it's a fight to the death. So the last man standing wins the princess, essentially. But nobody had ever imagined the princess would enter for herself. It is also illegal in her country, and so she has to win it, or her family will kind of like, off her. So there's an arranged marriage plot, some super surprises, dragons, really fun, and there's also a bit of spice in this too. Everything I write has a bit more spice to it. It's just a lot of fun. So I can write about 3 books a year, although this last year especially, now that work in my kiddo is getting a little bigger, writing 3 books a year is a bit harder, not gonna lie, than it used to be. Oh, novice. So it takes me ages. It so when I was first starting out and when I was writing as a kid and I wrote what I would consider my first real project, it was a 6 book series that whoops, Siri turned on. It was a 6 book series that I then for the very first time ever in my life went through and edited. I've never edited a project before. I just wrote things as a kid, but I wrote all 6 books in this fantasy series, and then I went back through and edited them, and that was the first time I'd ever edited work, and that was hugely informative to me. And then it was 4 books, but those each took me at least a year to write at that point in my life because I was still working through the process of writing a book, what that looks like. And then once I learned to edit, that added a lot more time, obviously, because you're going through the same story and fixing things and rewriting certain sections of it. And that was a really fun project. It is very near and dear to my heart. I would love to publish that one eventually. I know that entire story like the back of my hand. I think if I published it now, I would age it up a lot because at the time it's a like an upper young adult book. Um, at the time that I had finished it and was starting to query it for publication though, it really wasn't.
the timing just wasn't great for it in the market anymore. And so I held on to it. It was also one of those stories that was so formative to me that it also felt a little too close to the heart to publish it. So I may get around and publish it eventually, but I do think I'm going to grow it up and it will look different. Um, I think the story will be the same. I still think it'll be a 4 book series, or would be, but I think the characters would be much older. Um, I also think now in hindsight that an older version of that series would be awesome. So I don't know. I may come back to that eventually, but it did take me forever as I was learning the process. It's just like anything. The more you do it, the quicker you get at it. And yeah, so just keep at it. That's honestly my best advice. Biggest piece of advice for people is just keep at it. If you want something or you enjoy it enough, you're gonna keep going and do it for you. Ultimately, I write the books I like to read, so I don't always write stuff for market, although there are certain things that I slip in just because I know like a certain trope is hot right now. I might add it in, but only if I like to write it, honestly. I still don't I still don't write things just because I think they're going to take off because I think you can tell when people you know how you can tell when someone's trying to sell you something? It's a little like that. I think if you're reading a book, I think you can just tell if the author wrote it just because it's trendy versus they really have heart and soul in it. And so I always aim to write stuff that I really care about before what I think might sell. Um, I popped this question up and completely forgot to come around to it. Writing in a series makes sense, more digestible for some, I think. I also think that sometimes it's easier to like take breaks. It's a little like binge watching something on Netflix to me, which is what I love about a series. I also think a lot of readers, um, I keep turning Siri on to hear series and it's turning off. I think in the age of streaming services and binge watching shows also, I do think that the only downside to publishing in a series, especially if you can only publish 1 book a year, like did this one book a year in the series, there are absolutely readers out there who will not buy your book until the entire thing's out. And that is really difficult. And I know why readers do that. And I really wish that some of them would just go ahead and give it a chance and buy the book and just maybe stick it on the TBR shelf until later. Because if there comes a point where if you're not making your money off your books, you can no longer continue the series, if that makes sense. So, um, it's just yeah. In the age of streaming, I think we're all used to the entire series drops at once. It's a little like people were a little bit miffed because Stranger Things came out in a couple parts for this last season. Everyone was waiting on pins and needles and dying for the next segments of them to be released. It's a little bit like that. People aren't used to shows and media and things coming out a week at a time, if not even like a season at a time, sometimes. So there are definitely people who want to read the entire thing at once and won't pick up my series until it's completely finished. So I will say that it feels really discouraging whenever I start a series, how there's usually a drop off at book 2, and it's because people pick up book 1, love it, realize it's a series, and wait. And so there will be less sales on book 2. But what I have experienced, because I also have finished writing an entire series, I do have a finished series up here. The minute I released that final book, I had so many more sales because the entire thing was finished and people were reading through the whole thing at once. So you have to hang on. And that is why things like Kickstarter have been hugely helpful to me because it helps me to fund future projects while also being able to provide really cool things for readers. I hate that I have to upcharge just a little bit more to be able to provide both. Um, but I try to do a lot of things that are like time based too, like uh, live events like this or unique experiences, one on one kind of things. personal things to give back as much as I can. As things grow, that would definitely be more difficult. I definitely could not make individual like thank you phone calls, for instance, to like a couple hundred people that have backed the Kickstarter. But for now, while things are still pretty small, it is still doable. So I try to do those kinds of things. um, Thank you. That was so sweet. Listen, yeah, I'm taking my time. Yes, writing voice. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, it takes a bit of time to learn to learn yourself. And my first couple years publishing, my editor, I've had the same editor through most of all of my projects. And after she had been with me for a couple of them, she said she could really see my voice coming together. And there were some things that she could like, like you can pick up a book and just tell who wrote it sometimes, even though the story and the characters can be so different. And she said that she's starting to like notice that. So that was really satisfying. um, I am a binge watcher reader. Yeah. So for this reason, there's actually a hack in for this kind of thing because people do binge watch things. So that is why for shorter series, like my duology, which there's only 2 books, I'm kind of hacking the system, and this is not a new thing. This is a strategy that self-published authors have been able to use forever and ever and have really launched their careers for some of them, is if you can to go ahead and produce everything, hold off on publishing it, and then rapid release it. So meaning release it kind of sort of like this last season of Stranger Things, like 1 week this book's out, and then the next week this one comes out, and then this one comes out. That way you can better like I keep doing this stupid series thing, but that way you can better mimic how a reader would encounter your books. So they pick it up. It may take them a day or two to read it. For a lot of people, it may take them a couple weeks to read the whole book. So by the time they're finished, the next book is just published and they're right on time with all the hype to read the next one. And it keeps the momentum going so people don't have to wait so long because the longer they wait, the likelihood of them forgetting about you goes up unless you can get them to pre-order, which means you have to also be on top of their games with like deadlines. So this it's just kind of a nice little hack, I think, in the system. I have never done a rapid release before, um, but I decided that since this is a duology, there's only 2 books and they're both separate characters. So it's not like a consecutive series. It takes place in the same world, but there's this couple and then this couple. Um, I'm going to try out the strategy for myself, see how it goes, because just like you're saying about being a binge watcher, I'm also a binge watcher. And so I'm really hoping that it will pay off for me. Um, yeah, I just have a lot of thoughts about it. Oh my gosh, I could go all kinds of into it. I'm actually bringing a new series to my YouTube channel. I am every month going to put out a video where I talk about planning or where I sit down and I plan all of my marketing for the month. And so I think that video, maybe even this month, that marketing video would be like a perfect one to talk more in depth about the strategy for Billionaire Beast in New York, this duology, and why I'm rapid releasing it, and the timing of when I'm rapid releasing it. It's also that would be a really cool thing to maybe talk about. I think it'd be really helpful to you. Yes. Oh my gosh. The best strategy. No worries at all. Woo, I think my dog's barking. I'm sorry about that, guys. Holy moly. It's not my strategy. The rapid release thing is definitely not my strategy. It's actually an old strategy that a lot when self-publishing first became like a valid option for a lot of authors. They honestly self-published authors really like had it made in the early days because one, they get higher royalties, so they can afford to offer books for cheap online. And also, they release whenever they want to release. And so a lot of them have been writing forever. And so when it became available to, from like, it was Create Space at the time, now it's Amazon KDP, where a lot of them had published at that time. Um, oh my gosh, it was huge because a lot of them had already had projects they'd been working on and trying to break into the industry with. And so they already had several books. And so they were just ready to go. They just uploaded. So they had it made in the early days, and now there's a lot more. There's so many different options and ways to go about it. It's just really, I could go all day about it. We need to get into this next sprint for sure. Um, I keep, I keep hitting that series up. Ooh, epic mature. I like that kind of stuff too. That is super fun. I also think there are definitely groups on like Facebook for things like um, beta reading. If you want somebody to read through the first version of your book and to give you feedback and reviews and stuff before you actually like put it public out there are definitely groups of other authors that you could, I don't know any right offhand, but I know that there's other groups out there that could help you with that if you're interested in that. That's really cool. Let me see what I just found my book and just thought about publishing. Yeah. Yes. I have done well, I haven't been traditionally published, but I have done the entire querying process a few times, and I've had some luck getting in touch with people. I've had some really good feedback, some not editors, some literary agents that were very interested that I sent like full copies of my book to, but ultimately, um, there's just not a lot of people in the industry with traditional publishing that are working it. And so there's kind of a limited amount of space and there's only so much an agent can take on every year. And I think sometimes as writers, we also have to remember that publishing is also a business. And so there are a lot of decisions that go into what gets published and what doesn't. And a lot of the times it has nothing to do with if your book has merit. Sometimes it's business. And what I like about self-publishing is you can bet on yourself. I really like that and set your own schedule. It's amazing. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna have to please leaving. Enjoy the chat. Yes. We'll see you later. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I hope everything goes smoothly for you too. Thanks for joining us. All right, we need to get into sprint number 2 and 3 because we're not very far into it. So for those of you new here, we do 3 productivity sprints, or what they technically are. I call them writing sprints. We work for 25 minutes and then we chat in between each. We're going to do 3 of those. I've already gone a little longer than normal because I had a lot to talk about, but we are going to go, oops, and there it is, jump into the next 25-minute sprint. So I'm going to mute myself. We're going to work for 25 minutes and then we'll come back and we can chat some more. The next thing on my like list of talking points to check in on to give updates is Curse of Wings, actually, the vampire romance series. That one I was pointing out on the shelf. So we'll talk a little bit about updates there and where we've left off, where I am in that project, moving towards book 3. So we'll check in a little bit. So 3, 2, 1, sprint. Okay, I'm gonna try to not make this break nearly as long as the last one. I think it'll be easier because, for one, we're talking about the Curse of Wings series, and I don't have as many updates as I do with Taming the Beast and the Billionaire Beast in New York, since that is the next things I'm publishing. Curse of Wings, there are the two books currently out. Curse of Wings and Darkness is book one. Then there was Curse of Blood and Sight, book two. Curse of Wings and Darkness. Um, Lily and Angel, we get to know them. Um, and Angel's search for the cure for vampirism. And then in book two, we get deeper into that, especially that plot. It takes us to New Orleans, where we encounter new characters, and the search for the cure really kicks off, and the romance deepens between the two of them and gets spicier for sure. Each of these books will get spicier with each one. Book three is a lot spicier. I can already attest to that. Already having plotted out quite a few of the scenes, which really takes us into the update, which is that I am plotting. I have like a really loose outline. It's not real formal like on paper. It is mostly in my head. But I am in the what I call the brainstorming phase, which is where I basically just like mull over the ideas, the story, where things need to go, those smaller details, and then they start to weave themselves into more of a outline. I use the Dan Brown's 7-point plot method, and I very loosely outline. So I am more of a planter, which is the middle ground between a pantser who just writes the story as it comes to them and an outliner or a plotter who plots the entire story out before they write it. I'm in the middle. I usually do a very loose outline and then start to write. So that is the update for the Curse of Wings series. That is where we are. Unfortunately for me, I think my earbuds have died. So in a second, I'm going to get up. I do have an extra pair of
There we go. I do have an extra pair of headphones somewhere. I don't know at what point that went off. It looks like I got muted for a second, but yeah. So in a second, when we get into the final sprint of the night, I'm going to get up, I think, and grab a pair of headphones from over here from the wall. I should have an extra pair. I don't think they're as good as these, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. They need to be charged though. So I'm going to charge them now. So that's really everything I have update wise for Curse of Wings. There's really not a lot. It does not surprise me that we talked a lot more in that first break because, yeah, there's just more. Since I'm actively in the middle of Billionaire Beast of New York, I'm doing a whole new strategy. There's just a lot more updates to go along with that book. It is kind of fun though, because I haven't written anything this back to back in a while. I write 3 books a year typically. Normally, they're not all in the same series though, because it was nice to get a break from each of them. I thought having the break helped me keep refreshed creatively. And what I was publishing in between my darker books was my lighter series, The Season of Witches, which are still paranormal romance, but they have a more contemporary feel. The characters are all witches. It is an interconnected series. Book 3, the final one in this winter saga, just released actually at the very end of December. And so I used to write those books in between the darker ones just as kind of a break from the heavier stuff. But 2026 will be the first year in a long time where I am publishing basically through an entire series. I'm doing the duology, and then I'm doing book 3 in the Curse of Wings series, and my plan is to immediately go into book 4 and finish the Curse of Wings series early 2027. That is the plan. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. It'll be fun to just stick with something for a while, I think. Just a different way of going about things. Yeah. So I don't know. Those are all the updates I have. Hopefully, everyone else is having a good night so far and is getting a lot done. I really hope so. Um, Let me know in the comments what you've been working on as we go. I am going to go ahead, pull up our timer again. Like I said, I talked way too much in the first break, so we're going to keep things a lot quicker. Go ahead and move into our third sprint of the night, which is also 25 minutes. So I'm going to mute myself. We're going to work for 25 minutes. I am going to go get my other headphones because I like to listen to music while I work, in case you did not know. And then we will call it a night. We'll reconvene, chat a little bit about everything coming for the week because it is Sunday. We're getting ready to go into the work week, brand new week. So I'll talk a little bit about my intentions. Maybe we can chat about plans. And then we'll be done for this week. And then we'll go live again next Sunday. So that's that. So one more sprint. Third one, last of the night. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, that is the end of the night. Oh, I ended the night at 39,834 words, which actually is not very much for me. I have hiccups now. Oh my gosh. It's actually a really low. I only wrote a few hundred words. I did a lot of self-editing. I also had been sick this last week, so it took me a little bit to get back to writing. So that took a little bit of time refreshing um, myself. And I'm also in a really deep moment between my main characters, and I always slow things down a little bit and I'm a little more careful with how I express things. So it was just a slower process tonight, which is fine. Um, I am excited because I get to write in the morning. I have an hour in the morning before I have some day job stuff I do because I technically work two jobs. I do this, which I would say probably takes more of my time. It's definitely more full time, this job. And I also work as a therapist. So I have some clients I see tomorrow. So I have about an hour in the morning to write. So I'm really hoping that I can get my head around things tonight and where I am in this scene so that in the morning I can come in and all the words I didn't get tonight will just pour out of me onto the page in the morning, is what I'm hoping. So, thank you guys for joining me. I hope it was really productive for you. Thank you to all of the people who've joined me tonight who've never joined me before. I saw a lot of new faces in the chat. Um, thank you so much. I am thinking about moving the Write With Me live stream back to YouTube at least once a month. I don't know. I really like the community I'm able to build on YouTube by being public with these live streams because in the past few months, I made them private on my Patreon page. Um, so I don't know actually. Um, we will see what I end up doing. I need to do a little bit of thinking for sure. But thank you guys for joining me. It has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys were really productive tonight as well. And yeah, check out the links in the description for all of my books that I talked about. I have 10 of them. I write paranormal romance and romantasy, so if that's your thing, check it out down below. I'm also really active on social media, so check those out. And yeah, I have a 90% off sale going on my Patreon right now. Speaking of Patreon, so if you're curious about all of the exclusive things you can get nowhere else, early access, all of my announcements early, check out Patreon because there's a lot of fun stuff there. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so, so much for being here and read books, be kind. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.